Hi, welcome to week 2 of English 102. This week I want to start talking a little bit about research and critical reading. One of the things you need to realize is as you start to read different books and journals and start to collect data, is sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. So one of the things I teach people, it's called college reading. It's where you look at the first sentence and the last sentence of a paragraph in a book or whatever you're looking at, and it will tell you everything that's in that paragraph, and that will kind of help you get through the material a little faster to discover what might work for your article. Also, reading abstracts, that actually is the place to start. As you're going through EBSCO or whatever you're going through to find your journal articles and stuff, if you look at the abstracts, usually that will give you a pretty good indication of what is in that paper. Now you are at some point going to be writing abstracts yourself, and keep those in mind that basically it's like when you pick up a book in a bookstore and you flip it over and you read the back and it tells you what's in that book. That's basically what an abstract is. And so as you write them or as you read them to find articles yourself, that's pretty much what it is a back of a book. Alright, so let's talk about critical reading for a second. So as you go through it, I would say read the titles. That'll kind of pull you in, let you know. Read any like key headings, keywords, definitions, summaries. Sometimes I'll have summaries at the back of a chapter or something like that. Reviews and any kind of conclusions, these kind of things. And that will really help you kind of with the preview of the reading to kind of know if that's actually going to be something that works for you. Next, find the main point that they're trying to get across. And does that main point go with your thesis statement? And if it does, then yeah, write it down. And here's a little trick when you're collecting data. When I do it, I have a Word document open, I find an article or something that works for me, and what I do is I would, if there's a specific quote I know that's going to be really good for my paper, then I copy the quote into a Word document, and then on the Word document I write, I also take the information like the author's name, the date, the website, all that kind of stuff, and then I put that also next to the quote so that when I'm ready to do my text citation and my reference page, all my stuff is in all one location, and I'm not having to flip back through a bunch of books and try to remember where it is. So you can actually keep kind of a diary, so to speak, of everything that you're learning and using along the way. The next thing is find, once you have your support points, the points that that you're trying to prove in your paper, those are the things you're going to want to start to try and find. So you could also have a Word document for each point, and as you find things that go with that point, you would just kind of include that in that diary, so to speak, so that it's all in one location. Take notes, highlight. You could do 3x5 cards. Some people like to do that. Basically, whatever your thoughts to those support points as you do the reading, you can write down your own little, thoughts and just jot those down. And then start to evaluate and form an opinion. And don't have such a closed mind that when you start to do all this research that if you had a certain way that you were going to go in your thesis statement, and maybe when you start to actually read it, you realize, oh wow, everything's supporting this other way. And so, you sometimes have to shift your thesis statement a little bit to fit what you're finding, the research you're finding. So be aware of that. All right, so when you analyze data for papers, that's where, as you go through different statistics and stuff like that, to find out if it's actually going to balance out to your paper, these are things you can do. You can read and review your data. When notes, write the notes as you review it, make sure that it's going to work for your paper. Identify all the themes that might be in your data that would help go back to your paper. Interpret the data and consider alternative explanations. And then draft your report on your findings. And that's when you start to write with your heart, not with your head. You start to just write out different ideas that you've had as you've been doing all your reading. Let's just look at this for a second. I like to use this, a couple of these statistics, just to see if you personally can figure out if it works or not. So I have a headline, and I'll have it right here for you on the screen. Teenage girls' soda intake is linked to broken bones. And it says those that drank Coke and had fractures was 38. And those that drank Coke and had no fractures was 69. And did not drink cola that with fractures was 5, and with no fractures was 52. So you look at this data and you say, I wonder if this data is accurate or if this is going to help me with my paper. But if you look at this, we don't really have enough information to really make a good valid argument whether or not this data would work. And so I would say no, this statistic is not a very good one. All right, the next one I have on the screen is women typically live longer than men. Now, if you look at the graph, it does look like women live longer than men, and it seems to be happening over a period of time. So in a way, this statistic actually looks pretty good. The problem is if you look at the dates are definitely more than 10 years old, and so we don't have current data. So you would want to go back and find current data to back up your claim. If it's still true, then you shouldn't have any problem finding that data. And then third, most high school seniors don't work because they are lazy. And as you can see, there's a big percentage on those that don't work. But the problem is we don't have enough data here either. To say that they're lazy, what if they have parents that don't work? So they're taking care of their siblings, doing things in their home. Just because they don't have a job where they get paid doesn't mean that they're lazy. They could be involved in sports at school. They could be involved in ASB, whatever. So obviously a statistic like this, though it looks great, actually doesn't prove what we're trying to prove. As you're doing your research, make sure you evaluate it, you examine it, and then you evaluate it again. You want to make sure that you keep records of it, that you know where you got it out of the library, and try to limit the amount of dictionaries you use. There's certain sources I say that are the best sources, and those are usually journal articles that are current. Books often are, especially if they have more than one edition, because if it has more than one edition, obviously it's a trusted and true, and a lot of people use it. The more editions there are out there, probably the more you can trust the articles. Avoid Google as much as possible. I say that's your last source. You could use Google maybe to get some ideas of what's out there, but don't use that as your main source. Don't use Wikipedia ever. That is one of the worst things. Professors do not like it because anybody can get on there and it can become very biased and inaccurate information. So the only thing Wikipedia is good for is maybe giving you ideas of what something is. If maybe you don't quite understand a definition and you want to understand it, sometimes reading it can help you, but don't use it in your papers. Don't use that as your main sources. You need to make sure you go out and you find good sources. And as you're doing that, you want to make sure that whatever you come up with is actually going to help your paper, not hurt your paper. It's in your topic. And usually you have to have 3 to 5 sources, so you want to probably double that when you're looking. Find good, if you need 3 sources, look for 6, so that if one of them isn't going to work or a couple of them aren't going to work, you still have other ones to pull from. All right, we'll get into this more along the way, but I just wanted to get you started and on this research thing, because you have a research paper due at the end of this class, and it's really important that you know how to do research. And just have fun with it. Research is all about getting out there and learning more about your topic. And I always say pick topics that you're passionate about and then learn something from it. Get excited about the topic and find out more and more about it. It can be a really fun process. All right, well, I hope you have a great week as you start to work on your outlines and everything. I hope it goes well. God bless.